Practice is underway for the Mizzou women's basketball team. We're joined by the head coach, Robin Pingeton. And Robin, first couple of days, they're in the books, and you've had a chance to get a look at your team. And every year you got a new mix to get to look at and get right. And what are your early thoughts so far?
You know, every year you want to pick up where you left off, and it just doesn't work that way. So it becomes a giant jigsaw puzzle, and how do you put all the pieces together? But that's what, one of the reasons this job is so fun. We've had one day of practice, and I'd absolutely say they nailed it. The energy, the effort, the intensity, the focus, I thought they were outstanding. Now, with that being said, we still have a long ways to go and a lot of work to do, but it's a really good group to work with. I know that we all have really high expectations of what we want to see happen throughout the course of this season, but we also have a great understanding that it takes one day at a time and just to focus on the process.
When you look at that mix, I was talking to your longtime video coordinator, Mike Donovan, a minute ago, and one of the things he pointed out is the balance, top to bottom, of this group, and how much does that help when you've got seniors, juniors, sophomores, all the way down. It's balanced, and you can really lean on that. How much does that help?
I think that's really big. Last year I thought it was huge for us, having two of our three seniors being fifth-year players, and so just that maturity level. And then this year, going into this season, both Jordan Fredricks and Kayla McDowell, again, will be fifth-year seniors. And that leadership, just to know that the right words are being said in that locker room when you're going through tough days and your body doesn't feel good, and just being able to go through the peaks and valleys of the season, I think that's so important. But, our leadership's been great. I think every year you pass the baton, you pass the torch, and the girls have done a tremendous job so far in our off season and now at the start of practices.
You mentioned Jordan Fredricks, and I hope people have not forgotten about how good she is, and I'd suggest if anybody in the SEC has, it's to their detriment. Coming back off of the knee injury, how has she looked so far?
She looks really good. She looks really strong. I'd say she's probably at about 95%, and that last 5%, there's no doubt over the course of October she'll get there. I think more of it's a timing issue than anything, and just continuing to trust that knee a little bit, typical coming back from an ACL, but she's as strong as she's ever been. She's quick, she's explosive, and she looks really good.
A double-double machine a couple of years ago. We'll look forward to seeing her back 100% healthy. Sophie Cunningham, what's the next step for her? Because she certainly did not suffer from any kind of a sophomore slump, and I know fans are expecting a lot as she enters her junior season.
Yeah, and Sophie lives for that moment, she's just a special young lady, and for her to do what she did as a sophomore, despite the fact that there was several practices that she couldn't be out there competing, and limited time in the off season going into her sophomore year, is just pretty incredible. And what I've seen in Sophie is just another level of growth, maturity from a leadership standpoint. We always talk about as coaches, your best player has to be your hardest worker. And she has just been a workhorse for us, and really proud of her. But I would say that about all my kids. I think they all work extremely hard. But, for Sophie, I just think being an upperclassman, understanding what this SEC looks like, understanding the importance of every game in the non-conference and where we're trying to get to in March, it's been really important, and she's embraced it and looking really good.
This program has done such a good job the last 3, 4, 5 years of taking that next step up and improving upon what they did the year before, which is what you've asked of them, especially the last few years. So when you look at the landscape now, big picture, what's the goal for this year? What's the next step for this group?
You're going to get tired of hearing this, but we don't talk a lot about goals. I think we all know what's out there. We want to not only get to the NCAA, but advance to the Sweet 16. We want to compete for championships in the SEC, but we don't spend a lot of time talking about that. I want them to really focus on the process and one day at a time be the best that they absolutely can be. And not only on the court, but in the classroom and in their personal lives. And so we're more process-driven than goal-oriented. I think they've got to find the value and just step by step, brick by brick, and they've really embraced that. But we've been really blessed. Every year we've continued to grow our program. Great fan support. Our fans have been outstanding, really created an environment for us. And I know one thing for sure is we definitely want to protect our home court.
Mizzou fans, following the story of the offseason, everyone knows what happened with the Porters coming back to Columbia. You've been asked about that a lot. I don't want to ask you about the beat by beat of the story again, but you're surrounded by family more than ever in this Mizzou basketball program as we enter this season. And what does that feel like for you? How good does that feel to Everywhere you look, you see family. That's got to be really enjoyable.
You know, it really is. Unfortunately, we lost our father in the off season, and that was really hard because I tell you what, there was nobody more excited about it than my dad was. But my sister and I are really close. You know, our families are really close. Our kids are really close, and you know, who doesn't want to be surrounded by family? But I'll go a step beyond that and just say how blessed I am as a coach, because I feel that way about every single player, every one of my coaches, every one of my support staff. We've just been really blessed with the culture that we have here, and I think we all would agree that it's not just the immediate family, the blood family, but it goes way beyond that, and we care an awful lot about each other.
Robin, I appreciate your time. Good luck as we get the season going, and enjoy these preseason practices before the grind of the regular season starts.
I definitely will. Thank you very much.
Head coach Robin Pingeton.